temperature is it there right now? Terry, what temperature is it?
It's actually cold. It's like 55 and not getting up to about 74.
Whoa. I'm coming down next week, so it better be nice.
Are we expecting anybody else except Paul?
That's it, it's just about ready to start. We can do the Pledge of Allegiance and the approval of minutes, how's that sound? I'm gonna call this meeting to order, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Are we streaming?
Oh, yeah, I gotta turn it, oh, we are streaming, we are streaming at the moment, all we have to do is turn on our mics to be heard, so maybe I'll turn on a mic. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Welcome, everyone. We have George Dick with us, who is Deputy Mayor of West Cape May, sitting in to hear what goes on at these meetings and get some information, because West Cape May will be included in the Cape Island study by GPI. I will entertain a motion for the minutes to be approved as done by Terry.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye, the three of us?
Aye.
Okay, you're welcome. Nice job.
Jim Moffitt's there, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And so without further ado, we'll get Paul to a mic, and he can, do you want to sit in front of us? Yeah. You're missing out on your two hearts there, though.
I'll take them with me, yes.
We did
We
it.
did it. You were talking.
You were talking to somebody irreverently.
So where do you guys want to start? I've got two things that I wanted to present to you and talk to you, but I know you guys were looking for some updates on some of the current projects. Did you want me to kind of hit on some of those projects, or do you want to go over my stuff that I...
Well, why don't we go over your stuff first? How's that
Okay.
sound?
Pretty advantageous that we have somebody from West Cape May here, because the first project I wanted to talk to you about, I just recently found out about, and this is, the county's proposing a roundabout at West Perry, Myrtle, and Park Boulevard intersections. I know that they've probably had, I know the county's been probably talking to you probably more than...
The plan's been in place since 2011.
Really? For this
Yes.
roundabout?
And the issue has always been that we needed to take some parking spaces away from the lumber company, and they would never give them up. And now we've arranged a deal where we give them additional space up Park Avenue. So it's going to get done. I mean, it's been a big issue
So-
for years and years there.
So it's probably news for everybody here, so...
Okay.
I finally got a copy of the plan when I heard about it.
That's a good one.
I do. Actually, I don't have an updated. We're actually doing the resolution tonight in our meeting to approve, basically giving the parking
Parking lot.
extra spaces.
So, thank you for doing that, because I think, I think everybody can agree that that intersection is one of the craziest intersections that we have going on. And this roundabout is, the county's probably installed a couple of them. I know they did one up in Woodbine,
Yeah,
on Dennisville
Petersburg Road,
and
yeah.
Woodbine Ocean View Road. Trying to think, and I think they have one other one. But you've seen roundabouts are making their way back. Everybody thought that we were getting rid of circles. Well, this isn't a circle, it's a roundabout. They are definitely coming back, and I'll send this as a PDF to everybody, so you can distribute it to everybody that's not here today. But I at least felt that I just found out about this because I think that we found out this, the lumber company was finally agreeing to it, so that's how it came to me.
The PDF shows the map, I mean, the drawings, is that what that?
Yeah, the PDF shows the layout of how the intersection will go, and, essentially if, instead of it being like a free-for-all, if you're coming out of Myrtle or Park and trying to get out to West Perry, you always have to do like a double stop, and that second stop is like
Optional.
out in the, optional.
Sure, I'm just sending it to you.
Yeah, I mean, they've also moved the,
And then my one concern is to make sure it's somehow incorporated for bicycles, not only at the circle area, but on Little Myrtle Avenue back there, the one-way thing, how bikes are, being incorporated between that and then carrying on towards West Cape May, by the park. So that's my only concern, and I'll look at the picture, but I'm hoping you have to see it.
Well, I mean, the county will, if they want to add that, the county would have to add sharrows, but it's essentially set up for, if a bike is going to enter that roundabout, they're going to do it as a vehicle. Because,
there are bike lanes on Park coming from down Park, so you can see them, they're actually on there. There are no bike lanes on the Cape May side.
Right.
So if you go all the way around. The other major issue that we just lowered the speed limit on Myrtle and put more one-way signs up because people use that as the cut-through. Hopefully now that this circle is here, they'll go around the circle and continue down Park to the beach.
Right.
That's the thought process. I mean, it is one of the craziest intersections I've ever seen, especially for a pedestrian. So this is great. I mean,
Yes.
they've moved the sight lines are way better because they've moved the crosswalks back where it used to be right on the corner, so there won't be any parking along that edge.
Right.
Which obviously we like parking, but you'll be able to see the buses and the trucks coming.
It's going to be a much safer condition for all users.
Yeah.
Vehicles, pedestrians, and bicycles.
I'd also like to see, and this hasn't been broached yet, but I'll say it here, I'd like to see the buses start coming down Park, not Broadway, because they can't make the turn at Sunset. At Broadway and Sunset and Perry there, they can't make that left turn. This will allow them to have a nice gentle turnaround. So we might have a discussion with the bus company about that.
So that was the first thing I wanted to show the committee, just to get an advanced look at that. Because I imagine the county will be pushing, now that they have everything in place, I imagine that he'll just be looking to make sure his funding's lined up, and he'll probably put this in as, obviously, this is not something that would happen before this summer season.
I doubt very much this summer season.
So it would be something probably for next fall, winter.
A couple of questions on this, if I could. Coming out of CVS and going on to Myrtle. Okay, I mean, right now, there's, coming out of their parking lot, you can turn right on Myrtle to get over to Broadway. Is Myrtle's going to continue to be one way?
Yes.
Yes.
And will there be an exit there?
You can see it you can see it.
Yeah, you'll still be able to pull out of
Same exit.
CVS and make,
so it's
that driveway is not changing the driveway is not changing coming out of CVS. You'll be able to make the right. What the good thing is, a lot of people will probably make the left and cheat and come over into the intersection, but you'll only be able to make a right out of that CVS. If you're looking to go the other way, you've got to go out onto Park Boulevard and then circle through the roundabout. If you're looking to go somewhere else, if you're looking to come back to Cape May City, you got to use the Park Boulevard side, go around the roundabout and head
Yeah.
back
Which is great.
West Perry.
Yeah.
Much safer.
Oh, yeah.
The bike lane.
Well, the only bike lane comes into the roundabout, and as soon as you enter the roundabout, then the bike is treated like a vehicle, and they follow which is the law, and they follow motor vehicle laws around the roundabout, just as.
Put sharrows in there or anything?
At this point, I don't believe a roundabout that they would put sharrows on a roundabout now.
Maybe some shade.
It would appear to me that would be fairly dangerous for bikers.
I would like to see.
This is actually safer for bicycles.
With me on that.
I don't know.
You got different people talking, Terry. You have to try that again.
Sorry. No, I'm just concerned
Right.
Sharrow's green lanes, I'd like to see that being brought up, if everybody agrees, the bike
Well,
committee agrees.
well, you can't put green lanes through there because a green lane has to be a dedicated bike lane. So you could never put a green lane
Terry,
there.
the biggest problem is there's not enough space to have a separate lane for bikes around the circle.
Talking about that lane, I was questioning if that lane was still there on Myrtle by the park. But what we need is some sort of sharrows or even green boxes to direct, like you said, there might not be,
I very much agree.
there is bike infrastructure that will guide bikes through tricky intersections. So that's my only request. The bike committee agrees that we need to make sure that there's some sort of guidance for bikes.
I mean, it's,
I'm just talking about either Sharrow,
my recommendation is Terry, hey,
All right, Terry, hold on. Terry, hold on.
Terry, hold on. I think the best thing is before, you've seen the draft, let's mull it over. Bob Church is planning on being here in April. You can have those discussions with Bob when he comes here in April. Okay? But he's, he's limited on, within a roundabout of, from an engineering standpoint of what they can do. At most, they're going to be able to put advanced signage to say, share the road and explain to bikes, hey, your bikes can travel in the travel lane. And that's, they're going to have to share through that roundabout. But it's by and far much more safer proposed as a roundabout as anything. So, I think this, you've got this as an FYI, and you can discuss it more when county engineer comes here in April.
I'm hoping that when we have the study done, they will take a look at ways to keep bikes off of West Perry altogether, so that there will be fewer bicycles going into that roundabout and bring more down to Elmira Street. I mean, that was one of our ideas back in the day of trying to bring people into town through West Cape May through Elmira Street and not having them deal with West Perry at all.
Already a very troublesome spot for
Right.
bikers.
So I'll be interested to see what the new consultants say about getting people from what Cape May.
I mean, bikers should
Point.
really avoid this area, avoid West Perry and this area.
Well, the people that actually do use this way, I mean, we did a small traffic study on Myrtle, and everybody makes a left on Little Myrtle and heads into town. Nobody uses West Perry because there's no room. I mean, what I would like to see if we put signage up is to bring people on the bike lanes down Park, around the roundabout, and then continue on Park, because you can't, there's an island and an island. There's two islands. For somebody to make a left turn illegally onto Little Myrtle would be crazy. We have a big issue with people going the wrong way down that road. And we don't want them to do that. I mean, it's dangerous. The only reason there's two lanes there is for the lumber company to have trucks in there. This will be, the roundabout will be flat or slightly raised so that the trucks can make turns and actually drive over it. Because we wanted to put a statue of somebody up there, but anyway, so,
George?
yes.
Did they ever discuss a contra lane on Little Myrtle? I guess it's because nobody's gonna take away any parking spots.
Well, that's I mean,
You could definitely get a two-way, even though the street's one-way, what's called a contra.
yeah, you could make a bike lane down there, but I don't think people are giving up the park. I mean, we don't really want to give up the park, and we don't have a lot of parking in that area.
Moving on.
Yeah, and the way this is set up, now, you couldn't do that because of the way the flow works. Because if you're coming down Park, you're forced to go around the circle. There is an island in the middle of Park there, you can see it. And then there's another one, a small one right going into Little Myrtle. So you cannot make a left turn there, which is great.
Right.
Because they had, one of the other big issues that we found out, a lot of people go the wrong way on West, and drivers, not, I mean, when we're putting up the traffic monitoring station, at least 5 cars went down the road the wrong way, just while we were standing there for a half hour.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's so,
Yeah.
all right.
Now, how about pedestrians? I mean, that's essentially the same thing as bikers.
Hold on, Terry.
Well, you can see the sidewalk, it has pedestrian crosswalks.
Okay, with pedestrians having the right of way again.
Pedestrians always have a right of way at the intersection.
All right, Terry, you're on.
Well, just questioning, down here, we have something similar to this. It's kind of a crazy area, and we have a lot of Latinos working in that area on their bikes and stuff like that. Off of the circle, up from the circle, like where the crosswalks are shown here, they actually put in hawks. So I don't know if there was a consideration for putting hawks in for people crossing. It's still gonna be a crazy intersection. Just another note of, at some point I'll go down and take a picture of what they've done, but, just again, I guess we can talk to Bob Church about that later.
Yeah, I don't think with the hawks are not going to probably be warranted here because the vehicle speeds on, especially on West Perry or Park, really don't warrant a hawk. A hawk is usually when you have speeds up over 40, 45 miles an hour. That's usually when you really are wanting the hawk to alert the vehicles to slow down.
Are you talking about pedestrian crossings here at this circle?
Yeah, I think that's what Terry.
That's what she was saying? Because I'll tell you, Terry, if you saw the drawing, you can see that the way it's designed, everybody's got to be coming into this roundabout with a whole lot of deceleration. There's no way you can come into this intersection without slowing down tremendously, because now everybody's got to make a bendy turn and in a narrow space. So I think pedestrians with well-marked crossings are much safer. But this is just tremendously safer.
Huge improvement, and
Yeah.
we'll continue to check it out and talk to Bob Church in April about it, if need be. Looks like it's pretty good.
Is there any proposed time frame from when this might get,
I don't know. Probably next year sometime, or next season, should say.
All right, thanks, Paul, that's great.
The next thing I wanted to talk about is there's been some back and forth discussions about the city installed three-way stop signs at Elmira and Venice.
Right.
So, and there's been some people that have, claimed that that's an illegal set of stops and we shouldn't have it. And we were going to wait for this, but I was doing some research on, and I have some studies from the National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine, and they did a study regarding guidance to improve pedestrian and bicycle safety at intersections. And it's going to lead me to a path of writing a engineering study that shows that because we're encouraging bicycles as they come down Elmira to make the right onto Venice, and then conversely would be encouraging bicycles coming out of Venice to make a left on Elmira to head back into West Cape May, that the traffic studies show that we could see almost a 10% decrease in potential accidents and fatalities if that intersection is stop controlled as compared to having Elmira not stop controlled. So, if you can imagine, especially and it's really for that bicyclist that's coming out of Venice and wants to make the left, having those cars stopped on Elmira so that they have an ability to make the left out, that's where we can see a 10% increase or a decrease in potential accidents at that intersection. So that's going to be enough justification to warrant that signal, where typically for motor vehicles, it's not warranted. But because we're kind of incorporating that as part of our bike lane strategy or bike route strategy, it then does warrant a full stop control at that intersection.
Yeah,
Control meaning stop signs or
Yes.
Yeah, stop signs. Stop sign, notice, the way the ordinance and the way it's currently marked to have, it's a three-way stop. You stop in both directions at Elmira, and you have to stop coming out of Venice. That's going to be safer for the bicyclists traveling that route. So I believe that is sufficient justification for that.
I agree. I
kind
think
of
the
thing.
other thing that's a big help there is the speed,
The flashing signs.
the flashing things too. It's, it lets you know all of a sudden, geez, I'm going 34 miles an hour and a 20 miles an hour. Slow
Well,
down.
With my background, that's what I call evidence-based decision-making, as opposed to gut decision-making.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have I have a report that backs up the data,
Yes.
which allows me to provide the, and really what I just wanted a confirmation from you guys is that's still how we want the bike route.
Can I ask a question about that?
Sure.
As somebody who I live at the end of Leeming and Broadway, and I go down that street a million times. Where do the bikes supposed to go when they make that right turn? Where do you end up? You make the right turn at Venice, you make the left
Left.
on, is that Jackson there?
On Bank, on Bank.
Where
Well,
are you going?
that's going to be the next,
That's the next-
that's going to be the
Okay.
next set of the plan.
Conversation.
That's the next
There's
conversation.
really no good way into,
There's no good way to.
On a bike.
On a bike. Yeah, once you get up to whether you're on Elmira or you're on Bank, there's really no good direction, but the intersections, there's a little less vehicular traffic if you're going Venice down Bank than if you stayed on Elmira. So that's,
well, you also have the cars parked.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I mean, if you eliminated the cars parking on that street, it's pretty much, there's only about 10 spots in that, because there's so many driveway cutouts. You might as well just.
that's going to be, and that'll be one of the
Okay.
issues that our traffic consultant's going to look at when they.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm
is-
sure.
Is how to move the bikes
Yep.
through the city, from
Yeah.
West Cape May and
Talking about it for years.
Yeah, I have all the plans from the last 20 years, and a lot of the stuff really hasn't been implemented, so I'd like to see some things happen.
Well, the advantage of this grant is because it's based on the current federal funding program, projects that are recommended out of this are in a much more advanced position to get federal funding, and even within New Jersey, the competition, there's not as many towns that have gone through this process, so we're going to be able to get federal funds to help implement these projects and not have to compete with a lot of the 550 other towns in the state when we're applying for DOT
Excellent.
grant funding. So, island-wide, I think it's going to help us get some additional safety improvement money. I did talk with Bob Church on Lafayette Street. They anticipate having all of the repaving and striping done before Memorial Day. Or at least the paving will be done before Memorial Day, maybe some of the traffic striping the week after Memorial Day. It's all, but before June, all of the work on Lafayette should be completed.
Yeah, our concern, of course, would be the striping, and,
Yep.
and so hopefully we'll be able to talk to him before that's done.
But it's all going to be done before then.
Yeah.
Particularly in Madison.
Did you have a chance to talk to him about the same question on Beach Avenue? Will that be done by Memorial Day?
Yeah, that should be done. That might roll into the first week or second week of June, but before mid-June, all of that Beach Avenue and Lafayette will be done, yes.
Okay, sounds great.
And again, another question on Beach Avenue, and this is my ignorance more than anything else. But I see on the western portion of Beach, they're building around Grand Avenue, and the streets around there, bump outs. They're on each corner there. What's the advantage of those? Because I see the disadvantage being, okay, if we have a bicycle lane, all of a sudden the street is narrowed down because the sidewalk is doubled, essentially, at the corner. So
And I meant to bring the plans down, but when you look at the road diet, as they call it, like to call it now, so where that bump out is in the parking lane. So if you think about it, from where the curb line is, you'll have a 8-foot wide parking lane, then there'll be the bike lane, then there'll be the vehicular travel lane, then you'll flip over to the center line, then there'll be a vehicle lane, a bike lane, and then a parking lane. So, and all of that will be painted out onto on the
So the
road.
plan
It's a dedicated bike lane down the entire beach.
You don't have to,
And the bike lane's not going to,
yeah, right, that's what I'm,
those bump outs are in the parking lane, and the bump outs are to provide, it's an area of refuge for pedestrians. And so the amount of time that the pedestrian is out in the street is decreased, because now they're walking, they get a little head start. They're not starting back behind the parking lane, they're starting at the parking lane, and now they're just going across the bicycle lane and the vehicle lanes.
Yeah, drivers never know when a pedestrian's just going to come, prancing out onto the street, expecting that they have the right of way, and it's unfair because the driver's not prepared. Those bump outs actually, they kind of present the pedestrian to the road traffic. You can see that there are people there and are ready to walk out.
And they're
So
and they're
they
on
have-
they're on the front side of the parked car, not the back side of the parked car, so they're
Right.
not hiding behind that car.
Right.
Right.
and the last question I have, I think, in regards to Beach Avenue, is the city going to make improvements on the city's portion of Beach Avenue, which is basically from Broadway to,
First out,
and
the
on the
cove,
other end,
the
yeah.
cove of it. We're working on plans. Was talking with the engineer and one of our contractors yesterday. I don't think that we're going to, it's looking like we might not have enough time to be able to get the work done, because we have to replace a water and sewer main from Second to First Avenue. I don't know if we can get that utility work done or get the project done to put it out to bid, to have the water and sewer line done, to have that trench settle enough, and to have it paved before mid-June or the end of June. So I'm just running out of days.
GPI, I mentioned to GPI, nobody including that, I assume.
No, this is all work that's going to be done before that. So I don't think we're going to be able to get it engineered, bid, and constructed before then. So that section of beach will probably, it's looking now, might not happen until the fall.
Right. Yeah, but council's already agreed that we were doing
do
that
it.
section simultaneously.
It's just a timing issue.
It's just a timing issue at this point, yeah.
Do you expect the,
Wait if you can get it right.
do you expect the jetty people to come back to you and ask about redoing that building and those two empty lots? And would you consider holding off until all that stuff is done? Because once you tear it all up, they're going to come in and tear it up again.
Well, no, there'll be a
No.
moratorium at that point.
Oh, yeah, the 5-year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we may
Good idea.
anticipate,
Do it.
Other people are talking.
we may pre-position some driveway apron curb cut for them, but otherwise, they're going to have to, and he reached out to me to ask about that, so he may ask to get his utility connections stubbed in over ahead of time, so that they're at least behind the curb.
Okay.
Right. All right, Terry, what did you have?
I think that area, there's gonna be delays because of, the piping and stuff like that, it's something that, my feeling is, I don't know if the bike committee feels the same way, is that we don't wanna push between that construction, the empty lot and all that's one area that we're not pushing right now to get, planned, because obviously it really can't be done
You're in agreement with everybody in the room.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I had, unless you have any other questions for me.
Colliers, what's going on with Colliers?
Well, the county will be, made some revisions based on a meeting, the same thing I told the committee, I think, a couple months ago. Myself, the mayor, Public Works met out with the county engineer. They took some of our recommendations. They're going to be moving on Perry. They're going to be sliding the stop bar a little bit closer into that intersection. They're going to put some, I'll say, some better dash lines to make that turn from Perry to make that left on the Lafayette, as well as maybe that turn from Lafayette to Jackson, the left turn from Lafayette to Jackson, to kind of give them a guide turn and readjust that hatch, that Gore area a little bit, just to modify that for traffic flow. But we're going to probably add a fence along Lafayette Street from Jackson down Lafayette on the Rotary Park side to discourage people from crossing not at the crosswalk and cutting that corner to go to the ice cream shop. Or if you came right across there and you're coming down from Jackson and doing that diagonal, we're going to force people to walk down Lafayette to cross at the crosswalk so that they're safe there. And then add some additional signage on the, I'll say, the Collier side, to make sure, pedestrian, please, use crosswalks and direct people to the crosswalk that's really on the Jackson side of that intersection for pedestrians to cross. So,
Sounds great.
so that's,
Jeff, what about Bank, Decatur, Lafayette?
Well, again,
That's-
today, we don't have Bob Church here, but so Bank.
but that's not really a county,
No.
that intersection is not a county issue. It's really, it's going to be, and that's going to, I think that really flows back into the whole, what is the master plan for the bike route and stuff like that. So that's something that GPI will be looking at
Yeah.
as part of their master plan and analysis.
Sounds great. Yeah.
Can I ask who owns that little parking area off of Cape May Stage? There's a huge,
City.
and did they lease that to Cape May Stage for parking, or is that available for bike racks? Or there's like this huge shrub thing that kind of sticks out onto the sidewalk. If that were removed, could there be bike racks there?
I'd have to take a look.
Yeah. It seems like a missed opportunity to be something more for pedestrians and well, especially bikes and bike racks, because so many people want to come to the events in the park, and if they could put their bikes there, if there was a green box there to really slow people down and get them across over to the park. We had thought that way to get people across town might be to go down to Decatur Street from Bank, if that's something that the consultant agreed with. But in the event that you have all these bikes, and there's not that many bike racks on the mall, so people could,
Well, we're adding,
There.
this year, we're going to be adding several new bike racks. So, we've,
good.
I don't think we have that on our wish list, do we?
we're getting them. So,
Yeah.
you know.
So, the city is actually our partner in all this, Terry.
And sometimes we're ahead
Very
of,
good.
and sometimes we're ahead of you guys. So
Yes.
it's a good thing.
Just to
Do you
talk-
guys have a copy of the wish list, so I don't ask questions that,
Yeah, I'm giving your email to Terry,
Yeah.
she'll send it forward.
I mean, like, I'll just listen, rather than ask, I have 800 million questions, because obviously it's the first time I've been here, but,
Right.
and I want to see how we can incorporate West Cape May into the whole.
Well, we'll be once we have a good date of when the consultant's coming, we're going to invite West Cape May Point, Lower Township to that meeting to be publicly involved, because it's really an island-wide review.
Okay, I mean, just thinking of it from West Cape May, I'll throw this out there. Safe route to the beach for our people, safe route into Cape May to the restaurants and shops and things like that. So you have several options that you can do, and they can be enhanced. One is Leeming, one is Park, and with this gives you a safe route to the beach if we get some, signage, keep going down
Down
Park,
Park.
Grant, and you end up at the it goes right where they're putting in those big cutouts. It's actually
Right.
perfect. I just walked there today. And then we'd like to get people off Broadway, so no encouragement to have them come down Broadway. The other place that we have talked about, and I'm a runner and a biker, so I know every road by heart. People from West Cape May, from further out, come down, a lot of them come down Pacific. They cross at the Jake's Pizza marijuana store, and they go down first, then they have to get out onto Broadway, and then they make a right on Mount Vernon and go to Mount Vernon Beach, or they go continue down to the Cove. But when they come back, if they're doing it legally, they have to pop back out across Broadway and then make a left turn at West Grant. There is a spot on West Grant. We own the property directly across from First Street. If we put a pedestrian bike bridge there, you have a completely safe route coming to the beach without having to go on the Broadway at all. Not a car bridge.
Right.
And you guys own the land on the other side, so we own the land we have a lot that is ours. It's a 50-foot wide lot. It's got to go across the creek. So it's something to think about as a wish for West Cape May.
It's great.
Interesting,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously, you're an engineer, so you know that the cost of doing a pedestrian and bike bridge is a hell of a lot cheaper than doing one that has to be rated for fire trucks and everything else, so. But I'm just looking for safe passage on a bicycle for everybody.
Right.
Get rid of the cars. So,
Good idea.
Well, I can see your wheels are turning.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm thinking about what HPC is going to say. That's what I'm thinking.
it's not an HBC area there.
Anything within the city is going to have,
All the houses there are modern, and
it doesn't matter.
they don't want a pedestrian bridge?
I don't know.
Put pretty
I
Victorian lights on it.
Yeah. I don't know. I got to think about
Oh,
everything.
I know, I live in I did a renovation, I know all about HPC, which is fine, and I like it. I like the town for that reason, but something to think about.
So noted, for sure.
Yeah, so it's my understanding that GPI will be here next month
Yep.
at this meeting, yes. So
Yep.
that's the engineering firm that's doing these.
And I just have to coordinate with them if the city's going to send out the invite to all the other towns, or am I going to have GPI send out the invite to the other towns
Okay.
to do that, as part of their outreach. So that's why that's why it hasn't gone out to the other towns yet.
Okay. Terry, would you,
That is confirmed, that is confirmed.
it doesn't
Yes.
sound like, is it set in stone?
Oh, yeah, they're confirmed to be here. I haven't set in stone who's sending the invitation to the other towns to
Got it.
make sure that they come to this meeting.
It's a big meeting.
Will that be like the kickoff of their project, or have
Yes.
they already started, or not going to start for a while?
That'll be the kickoff.
That'll be the kickoff.
And they've been told, they asked the question, who are we communicating with? You expect to have a team in Cape May that will be operating with, not always talking to Paul. Who is that team? And this is it. You've been volunteered, so yeah, you'll be interacting a lot with them.
Yeah.
Do we have a date? A date?
It's on the agenda, March 13th at 9:30.
Yes. And,
I have the date on there for a reschedule with Bob Church.
just as an internal committee thing, Bob Morris is going to be at that meeting, and he did a lot of the legwork on the Mount Vernon path to Cape May Point.
Yeah.
And so he'll be here, and he's interested in coming back to the committee, so, which would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would expect that you there would be one representative from West Cape May and Cape May Point that would be regular communicators with them. So at least the four of you on a regular basis, I guess. And I think the other two representatives would be helpful as well.
Would it be helpful if they had a copy of the bike walk report from 2017? That was,
You mean the firm?
yeah,
Oh, yeah, oh, they were very familiar with it.
Might be something you might want to see too.
Yep. Yeah, if somebody can send it to me.
So Terry, George would be interested in seeing that bike walk study.
Okay, I need his contact information.
I'll send it to you.
But I only have that partial one, right? Isn't there two different copies? We've never find the full thing. But anyway, we'll discuss it later.
I have the full thing, I can send it to you.
well, I think, I'm not positive of this, but I think they issued two reports almost simultaneously. It's not like the second one updated the first one. It was, one was like a pre-suggestion and then a final suggestion or something
Yeah,
like
the
that.
one is not nearly as instructive or useful as the other one.
Right.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Maybe just, Jeff, send that out to all of us,
Okay,
what you have.
yep.
Okay.
I can do that. Well, I think we have covered most of our items in terms of Paul. And Paul, we appreciate you being here, and
problem.
so thank you very much.
All right, look forward to next month.
Yeah, so we'll see you next month, and, yep, very good.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Nice meeting.
We have just a couple other business items to attend to. Terry and Hillary want to talk about the map together a little bit, and we can talk as a committee about the map, given all the things that are hanging in the air. I'm not sure that, where we want to go with that.
That's exactly what I wanted to bring up too. Yeah, we'd kind of like to wait until there's some more, like the roundabouts in place,
Yeah.
before we go forward with spending money on a map. Then there's the whole issue of whether or not we can create our own, what do you call it, QR code that people go to and maybe not do the printed map at
Yes.
all. So for that reason, I think, well, Terry, when you come next month, we'll sit down and go over it again. But I wanted to get a sense from the committee what you were feeling as far as what makes sense for this year.
Yeah, I think given all the things that are going to happen, I don't think the map will be as useful. And I question the usefulness of a paper map anyway when you're on a bicycle, as opposed to pulling it up on your phone. And so,
Yeah.
you know, and having like Google Maps guide you around the city type thing. Yeah. So, yeah, we can talk about that next month when you're here.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll address it month to month, I think, at this point.
Yes.
Yeah.
And any new business? We don't have the public here, except for George, but,
Oh, I wanted George to give us a little of his background. He's
Yeah.
done a lot of work in Philadelphia with bicycles and just some of your concerns with West Cape May in particular.
Yeah, I
and
shared some of them, but yeah,
island-wide.
yeah. My background, I grew up in Philly, but I actually was on the original Bike Coalition Council for the city of Philadelphia back in 1990. And you think getting things done here would be difficult. I can tell you, when you're working in a big city like that, nobody wanted any bike paths, anything. And if you go into the city now, 30 years later, you can see there are, separated bike lanes on, all the way out to nearest Pennsylvania, all on some of the main streets in the city. So that was the initial work. So the base of that, we actually put together the original map that we had. Obviously, it's not the same one as now, but working through the different jurisdictions which didn't exist at that time, in terms of there was no governmental agency that said, yeah, we're going to fund bike paths, we're going to fund Rails to Trails. Rails to Trails was just getting started, and they had a big project that came into the city, and we tried to tie into them, but they didn't want anything to do with Philadelphia. So I have done something like this before. This actually is a lot smaller scale, and I think that the people here are much more receptive, both in the government and the people that actually live here. So I think would be a much easier project, to be honest. And I'm excited, you know, when Hillary talked to me about this, I'm very excited that, you know, they're looking at the whole island, because you can't just say it's inside of Cape May. And I think to Cape May's advantage, Cape May wants all the people to come spend their money in Cape May. How do you get them there? Some of the things that I've thought about many, many times is some of the things we just talked about. Having that bridge across First takes all the people that are coming to the beach from actually out where you live or along 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th Avenues in West Cape May. How do they safely get to the beach? There is really no safe way to get to the beach. I go down Leeming a million times a week, and it's just a nightmare. I run down it, I bike down it. How do we fix that so that we direct people in the right way? This is really a great answer, because if people are coming down Leeming, instead of going all the way to Elmira, they can just come down Park, around the circle. We could maybe extend some bike lanes. This is the old train route from back in, you know, this was the train, Park Avenue didn't exist. That was a train track. Park Avenue was a train track, and then it turns down, that's Grant. If it goes down Grant, that was part of the train track. Summer Station is where the station was. It is the perfect spot for a bike-safe route from West Cape May. So I look at that stuff. I look at, hey, if I want to go have dinner in town and I don't want to take my car, I want to take my bike, can I be safe? And a lot of people won't do it because they're scared of Elmira. So can that be fixed? So a lot of different items that need to be looked at. And, you know, in my role as deputy mayor in West Cape May, I'm in charge of public works, which helps. I'm also on the county committee for safe roads. So we can maybe integrate some of this stuff with that too. I don't know who your representative is on that.
I'm not sure, but I don't know, did we say that the engineers doing the study are working?
Yeah, well, that's it. And so if you get your project on the list, there was a top 50 roads that are suspect, and it's not just, but it's driving safety. Who was killed where? Basically, they do a traffic study in the most dangerous roads. Really doesn't, it includes bicycle safety, but not as the primary mission. But for us, this is it should be a bicycle-friendly town, and honestly, it's not. So how do you do that? So I'm excited to just sit in on these meetings, whether you want me part of the committee, whatever. I can certainly be the West Cape May. I'm pretty passionate about this. The other thing that I talked to Hillary about, and I know this has been kicked around a million times, but I don't know if you can do something with eminent domain on the railroad with the lease, because if I wanted to make a map of the island, the first thing I would do is I'd take over the railroad tracks, and I would have rails to trails all the way out to the canal. I would have the spur that goes out to Sunset Beach all done. And then you can come all the way from the point, all the way into the center of Cape May with crossing one street, and that's Broadway, and maybe we could get a light there. It's a no-brainer. I know that somebody has the lease on it, so there's going to be a lot of red tape. But here's the deal. There is multiple tracks coming from the canal. The only bottleneck is the bridge over the canal, which you can pave and have the tracks, and you can share with the Revolution Rail and that. So there is a way to do this, and he has the lease out to Higbee, and Higbee's doing their project. I actually asked the project managers for that, are they going to put a trail on the old railroad tracks? They're not. They're not even going into the easement. They're building a whole nother berm next to it. Because I was all excited. I was like, okay, then if they got it from the magnesite plant back into the saltwater marshes there, maybe we can get the rest of the way. Anyway, so a lot of different ideas, but to me, if you really want to do a bicycle, make a bicycle-friendly island, those two routes have to happen.
Yeah.
You know, there's, Lennox Electric has an easement along, next to the railroad track that we've talked about. I don't know when the last time anybody contacted them to see if that was a viable place, but it just runs parallel to the railroad track.
And they've been, of course, countywide, very accommodating with the bike path down the spine of the county,
Yeah.
or up the spine of the county.
It goes, I mean, you can go all the way to Atlantic City on the bike route, on a bike path.
Kind of, yeah.
Well,
Well, there's
it's
no
not all,
bike path. That ends at South Seaville, because I'm there all the time.
okay. But there is another path on the other side. You can go
Yes.
right through Linwood, Summers
Oh, yeah.
Point.
Yep. It's just
I
gotta
mean,
be-
so it's just a coordinated effort, and I think that the federal government is more interested in projects like that. So maybe there is money. I mean, it just takes, I don't know. The Rails to Trail isn't interested in a small section like that. That's one of the big issues, because you need somebody like that to get behind you. But I look at all the businesses that run along the spur from Broadway out to the point. You got Barbara Wild, just right by your house, Hillary, and you got Curtis. So we could have some people that would want this, because
He's running for Senate.
I know he is, he's gonna be busy. Anyway, so to me, that, people who want to see wild, and it doesn't have to be paved, it can be gravel. So,
Hillary, did you fill him in on Mount Vernon?
No, and I was going to ask Jeff to do that, because could you explain the
Can you do
Mount
that
Vernon?
later with him?
Yeah,
Yeah, we can, yeah.
we can.
Yeah, yeah. The other piece of this is sidewalks, and I feel like West Cape May is really a mishmash of sidewalks to nowhere, and some people over there seem to think it's fine, but, because we're a rural community, but we're not in the summer when there's rentals and everyone's out walking around and having to be pushed out onto the street because there aren't sidewalks. So does this grant provide for sidewalks as well as bicycle safety?
Probably depends on the plan they come up with, you see, so.
I think
They'll
so.
look at both?
So the
Well,
initial grant is for a plan, and then the implementation is to implement what the plan is. And so that's where we give these guys feedback if we can.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that
It's both.
they are, I mean, their safe roads and streets is their focus, but I know that their primary focus is first the most exposed, and that's the pedestrian. So hopefully we can direct them to check out sidewalks.
Yeah, okay.
Well, you know, last year in the fall, I did some investigation about improving the sidewalks in Cape May.
Right.
There, and there was pretty much general agreement that, yes, they are dangerous, but we got to probably change the ordinance or the procedure anyway for a homeowner such as yourself, you know, working with the city and getting some, sharing the funding of improving their sidewalk, et cetera. And between us, I spoke with the mayor about it, and he is not happy at all with the current situation and what's on the books, whether it's an ordinance or not, because it's very flawed as far as a resident trying to get money from the city to fix his sidewalk. It's flawed from both the resident standpoint and the city's, because the city all of a sudden has somebody who wants $3,000, and, you know, where is that in the budget?
can I make a suggestion? The town I used to live in, when you sold your house, the town code enforcement people would come and they would mark your sidewalk where it needed to be fixed, and before you could sell your house, you had to fix it. So that way, everybody, as the house is turned over, everybody got new sidewalks. And Cape May sidewalks are the worst. But
And the resident paid for it?
the
or
resident,
city?
yes, I paid over $3,000 to fix my sidewalk when I sold my house.
Was that all tree damage?
Some of it was, but some of it was just, you know, my house, that house was built in 1920.
Yeah.
And some of it was the original sidewalk.
Well, you fixed yours a couple years ago.
I had to do it twice. I had, first tree, wind knocked over city trees, and I had to pay for just half. It was easy for me to get half of the money from the city. And then when my house was completely rebuilt, I had to do both sidewalks. But the sidewalks in front where the trees, I had to go up and over and around. The city paid half of the thing without any aggravation at all. I just had to fill out some paperwork and put in 2 estimates, and they paid half of the lower estimate.
Well, Cape May's generous.
Well, so your idea is a good.
But it's their trees that were the problem, and that's why.
Is that how the city owns the trees, you don't own the trees?
No, yeah, the city owns the trees, the city owns the sidewalk.
The West Cape May, it's the opposite.
Oh. That's unusual.
Yeah, if somebody's sidewalk, they have to fix it.
Yeah,
Trip and fall, it's not Jif, it's them.
yeah.
Well, I wondered if there was a grant.
But we don't have the tree issue that you do, because we don't have as much of that.
Right.
I have one other topic to bring up as far as new business, and again, it's just a thought. But if I go back, and you'll probably remember this, to our first days when this committee was formed, I think it was 2017. And one of the things we looked into was getting Cape May named as an all-American bicycle city. And there's I think it's called the League of American Bicyclists, that gives a city this reward, and then they can, like, a historical city or something like that, a citation. And we took a look at that, and you got to fill out a very exhaustive survey and form to do it. And I think out of the 100 questions that were asked, I'm making this number up, but we could answer 2 of them positively,
Yeah,
But we-
I remember it.
But we made such good progress over these last 7 years. I think it might be interesting to take a look again at that questionnaire survey type of thing. And have we moved far enough along, number one, to put our application in to get this recognition? Or would it be a good guideline for what we have to do to get even, further along? What are some things that we want to focus on in the next couple of years? Ideas for us anyway, type of thing. So I don't know if you
I
know.
think that's a good idea. Maybe
Yeah.
you think about resurrecting that application, and then like you said, it'll guide us in some of the things that we need to do that are considered state of the art, or whatever you want to call it, the standard of excellence.
Yeah,
It's interesting. We had the fellows from Ocean City come
right.
years ago and talk to us.
Because they are an all-American city.
And they're an all-American city. Well, my wife and I, just one cold winter day about 2 weeks ago, drove to Ocean City because she wanted to go to a shop that some relatives of our own. And so I was just driving around the entire city. And I'm expecting to see green boxes everywhere, bike lanes everywhere, continental crosswalks everywhere. I didn't see hardly anything. And the one street that I think is bike-friendly, West Avenue, was closed off because they were doing some construction or something. I mean, we are doing pretty darn well in terms of the Cape Island in general, in terms of being bike-friendly. We're certainly not perfect, and we got a long way to go. But I thought Ocean City, I was gonna come there and see it be like,
Yeah, their advantage is their streets are really wide.
yes.
So they have plenty of space for cyclists to run. So that's probably why they got it, because
Yeah.
of the width of the streets.
Yes.
But every year, there's somebody that gets hit by a car there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so it's,
Oh, yeah. No, like you said, the streets are wide. There's no natural inhibition to calm your speed or calm the
no,
traffic.
and west is a 40-mile-an-hour
Right.
roadway.
Right, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Another aspect of this whole thing that I would like to bring up to the consultants is the idea of signage, wayfinding, that integral to the whole island, that makes sense, it's attractive, that we could be our own, you know, all-American city, and not officially, but, you know, that we care about safe bicycling and safe pedestrian, that Cape May looks so much more beautiful from a bike or from walking, and let's park your car, and, you know, the whole car-free, carefree initiative that, you know, did years ago, but nice signage to get people to maybe go on a different street than Broadway, you know, like, oh, one more block, turn right, and you can go, you know, all the way down Leaming or whatever. So that I want to hope is incorporated into our wish list for the consultants to look at how we could do that island-wide, because I think it would help. People who've never been
And
here
how do
before.
you get, if somebody's using, you guys mentioned use of phone. If they plug in, I want to go to Finn's, and you obviously can hit the bike, we need to make sure that the correct bike route shows up, because
Yeah.
Google and Waze, who, it gives you
Yeah.
the shortest route.
Not
It doesn't, so I don't know how you contact them and say, hey, here's the overlay of our map, this is where the bikes need to go, this is our pedestrian. Now, you can click on bike, you know, there's bus, plane, bike, when you go to those apps, but when somebody clicks bike, it needs to show what we want them to do,
Yeah.
not what Waze wants them to do.
Correct.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
this engineering firm, maybe it's pie in the sky, but I think they could set into motion something like that.
I'm sure if they do these type of projects, they have
yeah.
this concept.
Yeah,
It's something I don't know how to do, but that's why we're paying them.
wouldn't that be cool?
That's why you're paying them $200,000.
Right.
That's
Excellent,
great,
yeah,
great idea.
yeah. Yep, good.
Sorry.
Well, good. Well, thanks for sharing your background, George.
Yeah, that's great. George, welcome, and you'll be on our mailing list. You'll know when we meet.
Well, it's something I'm very passionate about.
Good. Yeah, we can sense
That's
it.
why I like it this time of year better than in the summer. Because I can ride my bike anywhere.
Yeah. Good, yeah. All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn if there's nothing else
Second.
before the committee. We got a second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Right.
Thanks, Terry.
Thanks, Terry.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Mike,
Michael.
thanks.
Happy Valentine's, everybody.
We're turning off the mics. Yeah, I'm gonna turn off the camera. Yeah, I will. We've been live streaming.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Terry has a couple of items for you, Jeff.
Oh, she wants to keep going?
That's it. Oh, Terry's not done?
Terry, you're not done?
We have,
Just off the record, I had a couple of
Oh, off the record. Let me stop streaming then.
do we have to do the Pledge of Allegiance again? Because we,
Yeah, you missed the play. Terry, question, do you need a ride from the